My name is Carl Hinder, and you're listening to the Salon Help Good to Go podcast, the podcast for salon and spa owners who are looking to grow. The only thing stopping you is you. Episode 40. Massive, not passive. Last week, you were the first to know that I was opening my Massive, Not Passive MNP, my salon membership group. I told you all last week, but before we talk about that, I want to talk to you a little bit about why salons struggle. Now, I know that's a huge question, and there's probably 1,000 different reasons for 1,000 different salons. But there are two key areas that come up time after time after time. Now, this is what I believe. From being a salon coach, I see this all the time. It's usually because salon owner beliefs get in the way of achievement, get in the way of progress. So whatever you believe, there's that old saying, isn't it? Whatever you believe will be true. If you think you can't run a marathon, you will be right, because you aren't going to run a marathon. If you think you can't lose 2 stone in weight, you're going to be right, because you're not going to lose 2 stone in weight. And that's the same with things like, say, recruitment. Or maybe increasing your prices. That's a good one. We don't think that we can increase our prices, so we don't. We don't think that we can recruit, so we don't. And to really endorse that, to really kind of enforce that in your mind, you also surround yourself with people telling you exactly the same. Usually people, who agree with you. They could be your friends and family, by the way, but often, if you think about social media, they are going to be people like you, such as salon, spa, clinic, barbershop owners, or anyone who's got responsibility for their business. The second reason is that we take limited amount of action. And what I mean is we take the minimum amount of action. Let's say we think that we've got to get a new member of staff. Then our processes, our recruitment processes, are set up to get 1 member of staff. You see, what we need to be doing is actually having maximum effort, which would be, well, why don't we try and recruit 3 or 4 or 5 or 10? If we're trying to get clients, we might say to ourselves, well, if I had maybe 10 more, that would be fine. And the action then is, let's try and get 10. Well, that's where it's missing. We should be putting the action in to get 20 or 30 or 100 or 200. You see, it's the level of effort that you're putting in is actually the minimum amount of effort. And then, of course, that falls short. That falls short in terms of success. And we repeat that with everything. And when we look at our business, what you say to me as a coach is something along the lines of, Carl, I've tried everything. I've done everything. Now, I'm not sure you've done everything, but I do appreciate and respect that you've done an awful lot. What you've got to appreciate and respect is that you've done an awful lot at the minimum effort. And that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about that your beliefs to get something done are standing in the way because you don't see the full picture. And I want you to realize that once you do identify an opportunity, you're not taking enough action. Now, you're probably thinking, why are you telling me this? What's the podcast really about? Well, I'm obviously going to lead into MNP, Massive Not Passive, my membership group, because there is a high relevance here, and it's really important that you understand it before deciding whether to join us or not. What MNP does, it allows you to move your mentality from those first couple of things that I described, which is limiting beliefs, basically, and limiting effort, if you wanted to summarize it like that. And it moves you into a zone that is full of people who are breaking through these barriers. And that means you're surrounded by the right kind of people. Let me give you an example. Imagine if you had a group of motorcyclists together. Now, I'm one of these, by the way. I love my motorcycle riding. I've done tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of miles. And in fact, I'm just off to Gran Canaria next week to do some motorcycling. But what we do know is that everyone around us tells us that motorcycling is inherently dangerous. Yeah, it's really dangerous. It's not the kind of risk we should be taking, etc., etc. Now, sometimes those people who are giving us that advice, maybe you're one of them. Maybe you were given motorcyclists or potential motorcyclists advice. You say, that's really, really dangerous. And you tell them the downsides of motorcycling. Maybe you've never ridden a motorcycle properly in your life. You're probably being told this by your friends or family, or you're the friends and family telling someone that this is dangerous. Everyone tells us. They tell us in person and they tell us on social media that this is not a good thing to be doing. Now let's change that around. When we get a group of motorcyclists together, when I get together with other motorcyclists, usually my friends, in fact, we know the dangers. It's not as if they are not real. It's not as if we don't acknowledge them or understand them, but we understand them in a different way. You see, that is the real crux. We understand them in a different way, and then we try and limit the downsides and we try and improve or increase the upsides. Because we know that there is another side to this. We know that there's great freedom with riding a motorcycle. It's a great way to spend time with your friends, sometimes lifelong friends. You get lots of camaraderie. You definitely have an improved mental health situation. It can be exhilarating, the sounds and the smells and all those kinds of things. You see, there's a big, big upside to motorcycling if you see it from a different angle. And that's what your business is like. If you could see your business from a different angle, you're going to enjoy it more. You're going to be more successful at it, and you're going to limit the downsides. And that's what M&P is all about. We know there are downsides, we know there are limitations, we know there are challenges, but we also know that when you're in MNP, when you're with the right people, you can see things from a different side. And we know most people don't see it, and they can't see it because they're stuck in the same sort of situation. I was actually thinking of calling the broadcast that, see things from a different angle, but I wanted to be kind of open and say, this is about the membership and it's open for a few days. And I know you guys were the first to know about it last week, but we don't have much time before we close. Now, if you want to join up, please go into the show notes, grab the link. And if you're listening to this weeks or months later, then please inbox me or send me an email on info@salon-help.co.uk and register your interest with me. Now, of course, having said all that, I can give you a massive, massive list of all the things and all the benefits of being in the group, a list of things. We have lots of things from great coaching sessions. Now, I know I run most of them, but we do have special guests and we do have a lot of different subjects and a lot of different perspectives. We do things like goldfish bowl coaching, and if you don't know what that is, you're going to have to ask, but it's a lot of fun. All of our sessions go into the academy. Yep, we have the MNP, Massive Not Passive Academy, which is around currently 120 training sessions. And it keeps growing every week or so as we put new sessions into there, and you've got access to them 24/7. And in fact, you get access to them on the day you join. We don't even make you wait weeks or months before we give you access to absolutely everything. And of course, because we want to be open about everything, there are no contracts. You join, and if you want to leave, you leave. It's that simple, really. We're hoping that you join, and we're hoping that you stay, of course, because the thing that I'm most proud about is the community, and I hope that's come across in this podcast as well. I am super proud about the mindset or the mind shift of people, many of which are now in the MNP group. We have all those lovely other little things as well, like the special guests and like the discounts, and we do have things like affiliate programs. So, you're going to be in a position to promote some of the Salon Help courses and get yourself paid for it. So, there's a financial benefit and return immediately, but don't make that the fundamental reason for joining us. Make that one of the small bonuses. Make the community and your desire to do something different the reason for joining us. I think the thing that it takes away most, or the thing that it focuses on most, is trying to reduce your business stress if you implement these things. And when you reduce your business stress, you can often deal with other things, really important things that we all struggle with, which is either overwhelm or work overload. Those two things are different, but they're both things that I'm sure that we can both identify with. Like I said, you might not have much time to sign up. Maybe you've only got 24 hours, in fact, or just a few hours before we close on November the 6th at 11 p.m. However, there's a reason why we close and don't leave it open all the time. It's because this is a great time of the year to be joining us and kind of getting you settled for Christmas. It's one of the most fun times of the year in business where you can really trade and you have a lot more clients and there's a lot more cash around, and I think the energy is a lot higher, and it's great to have that kind of team feeling, if you like. And then on top of that, we know that January, February, March is just around the corner, and it's not just that pretend, if you like, New Year's resolution. I think we should all have a genuine resolution to be better than we were last year. If I were talking to you on a one-to-one basis, I would say your challenge is for you personally to be better than you were yesterday. And that's the only person that you're measuring yourself against. And when you've got a group of people in MNP with that ethos, or part of that ethos, because the other ethos is that we take higher levels of action than the average salon. So if you're ready to take more action and you're prepared to work alongside people like myself and other genuine salon owners, then you should be signing up to Massive Not Passive. I'd love to have this open to the public, or not the public. I'd love to have this open to salon owners. And when I say salon owners, by the way, these days I'm talking to anyone who's in charge of running their own business. So if you're a home salon, if you're a booth renter, or any of that type of business operator, you're also welcome to join us, as long as you're the decision maker in your business and as long as you want to be better than you currently are, either as a person or as a business. And whilst I'd love to keep this open all year round, well, look, we have to build relationships within the group and we have to work on certain things so that everyone gets the maximum benefit from the group. So we only open once a year, maybe twice at a push, and now is the time. So if you listen to this podcast, thank you. Please let other salon owners know that I'm here every Sunday at 4 p.m. trying to progress them and their business and highlight things in our industry that help you see things in a different way. And that's all for this week. Thank you for joining me on the Salon Help Good to Go podcast. Please go into the show notes, take a look at the links, get signed up, and I will see you on the next episode.